The Imperial vessel Dominant Force entered Earth's orbit with the subtle grace of a predator. Its vast obsidian hull blotted out stars as it positioned itself above the planet's northern hemisphere. Commander Vex stood on the bridge, his scaled fingers tapping rhythmically against the command console. Earth, a backwater planet on the edge of Imperial territory, had been avoiding tribute for too long. "Send the message," Vex ordered, his voice carrying the authority of the 5,000 worlds under Imperial control. The transmission was broadcast globally, bypassing Earth's primitive defense systems. It appeared on every screen, interrupted, every broadcast and echoed from every speaker. "People of Earth, the Galactic Empire acknowledges your planet's existence within our sovereign territory. You will provide annual tribute of 20% of your planetary resources, beginning immediately. Resistance will result in appropriate correction measures." In the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, 50 representatives from Earth's nations sat in stunned silence. "They can't be serious," said Director Thomas, head of Earth's recently formed Space Defense Initiative. 20% would collapse our global economy within months. President Rivera nodded grimly. "According to our calculations, we'd face mass starvation within 2 years. Admiral Jones, who had spent decades building Earth's modest defense fleet, spoke quietly. "Their weaponry outclasses ours by centuries. Conventional resistance would be suicide." The room fell silent as the implications settled over them. Humanity, after finally uniting enough to reach beyond their solar system, was about to be reduced to vassals. Professor Morgan, head of the Quantum Physics Division, had remained quiet throughout the discussion. Now she cleared her throat. "There is an option we haven't considered." All eyes turned to her. "Project Fissure," she said simply. President Rivera's face paled. "That's theoretical, dangerous. We barely understand the principles." "It's more than theoretical," Morgan replied. "We've conducted 3 successful tests in controlled environments. The mathematics is sound." Director Thomas leaned forward. "You're talking about tearing a hole in space-time," Morgan nodded. "A controlled fissure in the quantum fabric, yes. A door where there should be no door." "To what end?" asked Admiral Jones. Morgan's eyes gleamed with a dangerous light. "To show them that humans don't respond well to threats." Commander Vex was growing impatient. The humans had requested 72 hours to organize their tribute resources. He had granted them 48. Their time was nearly up. "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "we're detecting unusual energy readings from the planet's surface." "So," waved dismissively. "Probably powering up their primitive weapons. They should know better." "This signature doesn't match any known weapon system," the officer persisted. "It's creating some form of spatial distortion." Vex frowned. The humans were supposed to be centuries away from spatial manipulation technology. He opened a channel. "Earth authorities, cease your current activities immediately or face—" His words died as alarms blared across the bridge. A hole, there was no other word for it, had appeared in the center of the command deck. Not an explosion, not a breach, but a perfect circle of elsewhere. "What is this?" Vex demanded, backing away from the phenomenon. Through the fissure stepped a human woman in a simple white lab coat, her gray hair pulled back in a practical bun. She carried no weapons, yet every Imperial officer found themselves backing away. "Hello," said Professor Morgan calmly. "I'm here to discuss your tribute demands." Vex recovered his composure. "How did you breach our shields, our hull?" "We didn't," Morgan replied. "We simply opened a door between 2 points. Distance is largely illusory, you see. A construct maintained by conventional physics." Another human stepped through, Admiral Jones looking around with professional interest at the alien technology. "Impossible," whispered Vex's science officer. "This level of quantum manipulation would require understanding that your empire clearly lacks," Morgan finished for him. "Now about that tribute." Vex drew himself up to his full height. "You demonstrate an interesting trick, but the Empire still commands forces that could reduce your world to ash." Morgan smiled thinly. Before your fleet could launch a single weapon, we could open fissures inside every drive core, every command center, every power conduit. We could selectively remove critical components from your ships. We could extract your commanders directly from their bridges. As if to demonstrate, another fissure opened beside Vex's second-in-command. The officer yelped as his sidearm simply vanished through the hole, which closed immediately after. Or, Morgan continued, we could be valuable allies. Earth doesn't respond well to demands, Commander, but we are quite fond of fair trade and mutual respect. Vex stared at the human, recalculating everything he thought he knew about this species. The Empire had conquered thousands of worlds, many with advanced technology, but none had ever demonstrated the ability to simply ignore the laws of physics this way. What are you proposing? He asked finally. The Empire withdraws its tribute, demands. In exchange, we don't share this technology with every world that might have grievances against Imperial rule. Admiral Jones added, and we establish diplomatic relations, as equals. Vex knew what the Empire would expect of him, to stall to report back to await overwhelming force, but he also knew that by the time such force arrived, it might find only empty ships. I am authorized to negotiate preliminary terms, he said carefully. Morgan nodded. Excellent. We've prepared a draft agreement. She gestured, and another fissure opened. Through it, President Rivera handed her a data tablet. As the humans presented their terms, Vex realized with dawning clarity that the Empire's maps would need redrawing. Earth would not be marked as a tribute world, nor even as a member state. It would be marked as sovereign territory, to be approached with caution. And somewhere in the depths of Imperial records, a new warning would be appended to humanity's Philo. These beings do not accept limits imposed by others, not even the limits of reality itself.